trees of green. Green trees there too. I see the trees, and they are green. And I think to myself, I am lost in the woods. What is best in life?
Welcome to the Fluffenhammer. Oh, God.
Right.
Wow, we're going to have to, invest in some holy unguents and send off to Mars for some, ritual artifacts and things to get this working.
That was insane, and I don't understand why any of that happened the way it did.
But we are here now.
We are here now. My workaround has worked. My incredibly insane workaround.
Have you had to do something really elaborate, Adam?
We have 4 different streams running for sound to get us both running.
Well, okay, fair enough.
Isn't the way this should work. This isn't the way the technology should work.
Right.
At all.
I think we've got a very angry machine spirit going on here somewhere, to be perfectly honest.
I honestly do believe that we have angered some dark and terrible being, and it refuses point blank to let us go, because there is always something at the beginning of every show, no matter what we do.
But we are here now.
We are here now. We are alive, we are kicking, we are praying for death.
We are... I'm praying for death guard. I mean, as we were discussing before we actually managed to get on the show.
In the before times.
In the before times, yes, when there was nothing but silence from one of us, anyway.
Yeah, from one of us. No matter what we did, there was only silence from one of us. No matter what we tried, no matter what we said. There would only be one person. Oh God!
But like I was saying, I mean, a lot of the new Death Guard miniatures, the current range of Death Guard miniatures, a lot of people don't like them because they are quite over sculpted. But I think that's the aesthetic. I think that's what they're going for, and I really like it. I must say, I really like it myself.
There is something very cool about the Death Guard, isn't there? Just generally cool.
Well, I think Chaos in particular really suits that aesthetic. I think it should be a little bit ornate and a little bit over-sculpted. I mean, we were talking earlier, before we even came on the stream, about the old Dark Vengeance Chaos Space Marines, the Cranon the Relentless and the Crimson Slaughter Marines. I love them. I think they are some of the best Chaos sculpts we've had for years and years and years, particularly that Cranon the Relentless miniature, the Chaos Lord miniature with the big bunny ear horns. Love him. Love him to bits.
The question is, of course, what is your favourite era of Chaos Space Marines?
Now.
Alright, okay.
Definitely now. It's definitely, they are just better than they used to be. That's the long and short of it. I mean, the technology has reached a point now where they can actually sculpt miniatures that look like the artwork, which they've never really been able to do before.
I just have to stop you there and just say, and yet human history would prove you wrong, Adam. What is endeavour but a series of finely tuned bodges? Oh, that's an amazing line.
Yeah, they released the Death Guard during the opening months of a pandemic. Timing, right? Yeah, it's been a good old time for Papa Nurgle, hasn't it? Eh? It really has.
If it's not
so much
full-blown COVID out in the streets, it's nurgling and glitchlings in my computer.
Right, yeah, inducing despair, in fact. So yes, Nurgle's been having a fine old time. But yeah, no, I mean, without any shadow of a doubt, now is the best time for the Chaos miniatures. Without any shadow of a doubt, I mean, they're beautiful. The current lot, and of course we know we're getting more now as well.
That's not the only thing we know that we're getting, to be honest with you.
No, I mean, if you've been checking out the Advent calendar rumor ranges, that practically every single one has been an Eldari one. It's been an Ajiani one, hasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Including today's, by the way. It's clearly Eldari of some description. What exactly it is, I don't know, but it's Ajiani of some description.
Well, rumor has it that there's a Chaos Space Marines Eldari box set coming in the new year.
So I understand, and it is interesting. And what the rumor mongers are claiming is it's a new Warp Smith, which makes a lot of sense because do you remember seeing that big Chaos Hammer?
Yes.
My guess is that's the Warp Smith.
I think you probably bang on the money on that one.
It would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. What else could Chaos get at this point, other than
Chosen?
Yeah.
Apparently, the other things we're getting in it is a new Chaos Chosen set, which is cool. I hope they do more with the Chosen this time round. I mean, the Chosen have always been when they were originally introduced, way back in 3.5. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Before then they were just called Chaos Space Marine Veteran. Yeah, many moons ago. I was like my first year at university when they released that, the 3.5 Codex.
I remember when all this was lead.
Yeah, absolutely. But back then, the Chosen units were amazing. They were absolutely amazing. You could upgrade every single one of them to an aspiring champion. So every single one was a character.
Yep.
Which was amazing, and that meant every single one could have like special rewards and artifacts and demonic rewards. So every single one was individual and unique.
And
if you took 1,000 Suns army, every single one of them could be upgraded to a sorcerer.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So you could have a unit of sorcerers running around.
Oh man.
That codex was great, but it was overpowered.
No, just tiny bit, tiny bit. Yeah, that's an insane amount of power.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If you did do that, like, it would be so expensive points wise. It would be so expensive, but you could do it.
I just want to say that from the chat, we've got, if Khorne Berserkers could get redone a bit closer to that iconic White Dwarf cover, the World Eater from OG4 Cult Minis. No. The Khorne Berserkers aren't getting redone. Right, get that idea out your head. The Khorne Berserkers...
They are.
No, they're not.
Don't worry, chat. They are.
No,
yeah,
they
are.
Stop trying to fill people with false hope. What we have here is the perfect miniature in those Khorne Berserkers. They will not change. They will never change. They will always be tiny. They will always be shirtless.
They will.
No, they won't. And you can't change my mind on this one. The day that they change those things is the day that I immolate. I just go up in flames.
Well, that is one of the rumors, that the World Eaters are coming.
Yeah, but
that is one of the rumors.
There won't be new Berserkers. Stop trying to get your hopes up. There will be no new Berserkers.
I mean, it's kind of interesting that the Chaos Space Marines are on the horizon, because the Eldari are obvious what they need to do. It's largely the miniatures range that needs fixing, and that's largely it,
Yeah.
A few tweaks and whatnot with the army list, and they'll be fine, But the Chaos Space Marines need a lot. They need a lot. Obviously, they're going to get their 2 wounds like all Marines do now, but they need a bit more than that. They really do. They need something to... Especially since you're getting, we've got the highly characterized God-specific books out now, all of which are brilliant. The Death Guard and the Thousand Suns are just some of the best codices going at the moment. They are absolutely wonderful. I still haven't got tired of making army lists for the Thousand Suns,
Really?
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? Given how, the Thousand Suns have always been a very finite force, historically speaking. They've just been like, your phalanxes of rubric marines and Zarngor, and then sorcerers flitting about, maybe 1 or 2 demon engines. But now you can do so much with them, and the same is true of the Death Guard. I don't know what they're going to do with the just like the undivided Chaos Space Marines.
Mm-hmm.
My hope, one thing I seriously don't want to see in the undivided Chaos Space Marines book is Emperor's Children or World Eaters. Don't want to see them there.
Well, the rumor is that the Emperor's Children are going to be this box set.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. That is interesting, but I don't want to see them in the core Chaos Space Marine Codex. I want them to have their own codex. You know?
The Chaos Space Marine.
A misstep.
Yeah, the Chaos Space Marine one. It needs to be Chaos Marines and Renegades. It can't be the. It
needs to be the undivided legions. Yeah, that's what it needs to be. All the focus needs to be on. I mean, if they really thought about it, what they need to do is make this the dark equivalent of the Space Marine Codex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it needs to be as big, it needs to have as many rules and additions, but also we need to get supplements for this.
Yeah, so that's how you get the Crimson Slaughter, that's how you get...
exactly.
I can't think of any other Renegade chapter, they've all gone out my head.
The Cleaved, or... the big one, the Red Corsairs.
Of course, the Red Corsairs.
Renegade chapter. Yeah, the Renegade chapter. I
want them to get their own codex, to be honest. Just like a full codex, because the Red Corsairs are amazing.
Well, the Red Corsairs are great fun, aren't they? I mean, they've been around for a long time. And, I mean, under the current rule set, which is a weird mix of, like, the 8th Ed Codex and the Vigilus books, they're pretty damn good.
I think...
they are... Sorry, go on.
I think the main thing that they really need to do is make something very mutable. So when you run an army out of it, you have the ability to make your army as you want it. In the same way that you can with the Space Marine Codex. Because without it, you're just going to have copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste.
And they are one of those armies that really does need a bit of a shot in the arm these days, do you know? And just a general update. They need a few more bits and pieces going for them. I do want to see the ability to make a Black Legion army as they appear in the background, you know?
Yeah. Just deadly as hell.
Yeah, as befits, like, the core Chaos Space Marine
It depends on what
Legion.
you mean by the background. Do you mean black armoured soldiers coming in and you have no hope of escape? Or... pretending to have multiple crusades, but not actually.
Little of column A, little of column B.
Because if you've got one of them that's got like a little notebook that just has like the word crusade constantly crossed out, I'm all in for that.
Yeah, love the idea. I mean, and Abaddon, Abaddon needs a bit of a shot in the arm now too.
Yes. He needs to be pushed to the Primarch level.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the moment, even under his current rules, he can go toe-to-toe with Robotay. He can go toe-to-toe with Robotay, but he can't stand up to the likes of Thraka, for example, from the Orcs. No way. One-on-one, Garthcol will just mince him.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've seen it, but
then again...
the chat's on fire tonight.
It is, isn't it?
From Cassius, what if the new figure turned out to be the Emperor's mum, the Emperor's children's grandma?
That exists. That's the funny thing. In the background, that now exists. The Selenar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
There actually is an Emperor's Children's mother and grandma. Technically, the Selenar, the strange sort of female cult which helped create the Primarchs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, they are out there, and apparently they sort of still exist in the 41st millennium. But they're much reduced, and they've forgotten all of their old gene craft and all of that kind of thing. So now they're, like everything in the Imperium, they're kind of degenerate.
Mm-hmm. That's what I want, Codex Degenerate.
Codex Degenerate. Yeah, that would cover the entire Imperium, though, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the surprise bit. You open it up, and it's just like, at the very front, it's just Calgar. Hello!
Yeah. However, who have we got left for, like, the Loyalists? Are most of the Loyalists accounted for now?
I'm not actually sure what's out. I haven't really been paying...
In terms of their supplements, I mean, most of the big ones are all out, aren't they? The prime chapters are all out.
Is Space Wolves out?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
the Space Wolves book has been out for quite a while now. I mean, we've even got some of the successor chapters now. So we've got like the Black Templars.
God, they look nice.
Crimson Fists. Do the Crimson Fists have a supplement?
No, I don't think they do.
That's surprising because they obviously they were one of the what edition of 40k was it where they were the poster boys?
That was third.
It was third ed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were on the front cover of the Space Marine Codex back then.
Absolutely gorgeous piece of work, that one.
Yeah. It was lovely. I mean, I love the idea as well of having a successor chapter on the front of the Space Marine Codex, instead of the Ultramarines. You know.
I'm just having a look now. I'm just going to pull up Games Workshop site, although very slowly.
I think they are all accounted for now. I mean, now if they're going to release any more supplements, it's going to have to be successor chapters.
Yes, I accept your cookies. Give me your cookies now. Go away.
Right.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any of the original 13 chapters, and I'm hard pressed. There will be some of them. Dark Age definitely do.
Oh, the Imperial Fist supplement contains the Crimson Fists. Right. Okay. I think I do have it, but you know what? I haven't read that one. I got them all basically together, all the ones that were available, but I haven't read the Imperial Fists one, so I'm going to have a look at that.
Did something get released today? Like something big? Because my God, Games Workshop's website, the store is going slowly.
I don't know. No idea.
Right, Space Marines.
Are the dragons out today? Is that it? Are the AOS dragons up for pre-order today?
Could be. Right. So
I mean, I love the idea of a force of dragons in AOS. I think that's a great idea. I mean, the temptation to like get it and then model it after the Flight of Dragons cartoon is just enormous.
They just put a little speaker in. A flight of dragons.
That's the thing, though. I don't want it to be Stormcast specific. I would I really want to see some bad dragons. I want to see some chaos dragons.
Oh yeah. Well, amazingly enough, you cannot search.
It's the Christmas box sets that are released now.
Right.
That's why, Adam.
Right.
People are going nuts because it's like, the battle forces, and they're all they've probably got something knocked off, haven't they, at this point? So people are probably going nuts.
Well, I'm going to stop looking at the Games Workshop store website because I can't get anywhere on it. It's going so slowly.
Probably a good idea.
But yeah, it's annoying that there's just the battle forces. It's not
the Thousand Sons one. I was most vexed. If there were a Thousand Sons one, I'd have snapped it up, man. You know, but
nothing came out for Jai heard Flight of Dragons.
You did, Jai. You did, yeah.
Which reminds me, Jai, I've got something here that might interest you very much. Earlier today, for those of you in the know, I met up with an Adam White. And we went for a little walk around, and we went to a Paddington Bear exhibit. Right? I don't know if you can see this, Joy, but that's how close I got to the Paddington Bear model from the 70s TV show.
Oh, brilliant!
The stop motion model.
Oh, superb!
So I was very happy.
I take it, by the way, you've all seen Jay the Chew, that guy on Twitter who photoshops Paddington into films and TV shows. No? Jay the Chew is amazing. Every day he puts up a picture where he's photoshopped Paddington Bear into a TV program or a film, and it hasn't gotten old yet.
Right, Jay.
It's always terribly amusing.
Right, you are now followed. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I think it was Squid Games today.
Yep, I just saw that. The interesting one. Oh my god, the Die Hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's brilliant.
Some of them are very, very clever as well.
Yeah, that's amused me greatly. I like that. I'm going to look into that into more detail later. Right.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea actually. Malarion's realm having more of the it should do, shouldn't it? I mean, he himself is like a big dragon dude, isn't he? So that would make sense.
Mm-hmm. You'd have thought by now Malarian would have appeared.
Yeah, I mean, my God, he has got. I mean, have you got the latest White Dwarf, Adam?
I do, yes. I haven't read it yet, but I haven't had a proper
There's
read
a
of it.
massive section in it about Ulgu,
Right,
and Malarion's kingdom and all of the different bits and pieces and areas of it. So it's got to be coming. They must be building up to the Umbraneth. We even know what they're called at this point, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh man. I mean, they had the Warcry stuff hit, but that's been it. I don't know what they're doing with Age of Sigmar at the moment, in all honesty. It feels like Age of Sigmar's it had this massive push for third, and then went instantly onto the back burner.
Yeah, they've switched a little to 40k at the moment, haven't they? There's a lot going on in 40k at the minute. But yes, I think what they're doing after the Broken Realms, which was huge and kind of all consuming, it kind of swept everything else away. They're kind of just letting it, simmer a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Although I must say, I am very much looking forward to the new Maggotkin book.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I'm thinking that I'm going to try and get each of these books as they come out this time round, because the new books are gorgeous.
They're lovely, aren't they? I mean, they are really, really lovely pieces of work. I mean, I've always been impressed by the battle tomes. I mean, they are more, for my money, these are the best books for the fantasy setting they've ever done.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that.
Because they're just more interesting to read and to look at and to build armies from, you know?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I do think that third edition's army books are the best, but that's purely nostalgia, because I can see
nostalgia, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a massive shot of nostalgia from a logical thought process. Yes, these new ones are probably the best they've ever been. I mean, the Stormcast book it's a fascinating read. It's absolutely
really good,
and I think what makes it most interesting is the things it doesn't say. It purposely sits and gives you basic ideas of stuff, and then just goes, but we won't go into detail there. Goodbye.
Yeah, there's a lot implied in the Stormcast book, especially about the the Dawnbringer Crusades and how they're not, they're not as they're marketed. There's a lot of intolerance. There's a lot of genocide happening.
Well, the Dawnbreaker Crusades are basically stealing people. They're a lie, and that's the most fascinating thing about it. It's on the surface, you look at the Dawnbringers as being this we're taking back the mortal realms. We've got this giant crusade that's taking place. We've got this holy quest that Sigmar himself has given us that we shall go out and we shall.
Oh, we're spreading the light of civilization and order and blah 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 bullshit. Bullshit. It's an imperial. It's an imperial agenda, isn't it? It's essentially hegemony. They are spreading out and just obliterating other cultures. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me, to actually have this imperialistic mindset, this expansionist mindset take place with the good guys.
Yeah.
It's like, at last we're seeing more of this stuff. I mean,
it's overt in 40k, obviously. I mean, it's absolutely overt. But it's nice to see it in AOS as well, isn't it?
Yeah, putting those shades of grey back into place, which I quite like.
Right. It's showing you, just like D&D does, it's showing you that absolute unwavering order and law is as bad, or it can be as oppressive and negative as chaos, right?
Yep. Which is why my alignment is always neutral sleeping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, my characters, they vary between either being chaotic good, which I like because it's goodness without protocol or without legislation,
Yeah.
Or they are a neutral setting of some description. Although, in 5th Ed, what I like about 5th Ed, they do exist, the alignments, but they are nowhere near as prohibitive as they used to be.
No.
It's your character is your character, right? So they act how they act. It's up to you.
And that's why
you're not sort of trammeled by this very rigid system.
I do like the fact that in 5th Ed you can now run a really good halfling paladin. It's like that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because you take ranger in with it, and you've got all these animals that fight for you. It's brilliant.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, some of a lot of the classes that were considered lesser under previous editions, I found have been pretty damn good this time round.
Oh yeah. Which reminds me, actually,
And kind
I need
of,
to
good from the off.
I need to just reach over here a second.
It's when Alariel is weak and can't fight him. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yeah.
So we all know that I own a copy of Soulbound, right? Soulbound is a really, really good book, by the way. If you ever get the chance, it's a good book and it's a really cool system. More on that later. In February, I pre-ordered the first expansion, and then forgot about it.
Oh, it turned up, didn't it?
So I got an email asking to make sure that my address was the same. It's like, I didn't order this. Went in, looked at my Cubicle 7 account. Oh, I did. Sweet. So it's
always nice when that happens, isn't it?
So I got that sorted, and then 2 weeks passed, and I forgot about it until it arrived.
Brilliant.
So
Absolute brilliant.
It came through the door, and I was just like, huh? Oh yeah, I did order that. This
brilliant.
book,
Is it Games Workshop that produces that, Adam, or is it a subsidiary?
It's Cubicle 7. And there are also people who are doing the current Warhammer Fantasy Battle. And this may be heresy, but I think their version of Warhammer Fantasy Battle is Fantasy Roleplay, is the best that roleplay game's been. It's
interesting.
So much faster than first. First one's really good, but it's slow.
Well, the old one is it's old school, isn't it? It's based on some of the earlier editions of D&D. It is going to be a little bit funky.
Now, one of the cool things about this book is it adds a few new animals into it, a few new enemies, right? So you get beasts and monstrosities. So there's a Carnosaur, a Crocodilith, yeah, okay. A Divine Automator.
Okay.
Which is a golem with the soul of a god.
Very cool.
Drakespawn, yeah. Fire splitters, yeah. Phoenixes, yeah, okay. Flying fish, which, if you remember the Soul Wars, they've taken a piece of the artwork and made it into an enemy.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. Caradris, yeah, that's right.
I love the idea of an RPG in the Mortal Realms. I think it could. The potential is just enormous.
Yes, yeah. One of my concerns about it was that it could be too big, but they've done a very good job in focusing it down and just letting it expand out over time.
Yeah. A lot of the expansiveness should be left up to the imagination of the DM and the players, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah. Would you like to fight a beast of Nurgle, maybe?
Fun!
How about a feculent Gnarlmaw?
Oh, the tree.
The tree,
the tree.
Yeah. There's loads of Nurgle stuff, including this is the one I really like, and I wanted to read to you. A Slipskin.
Yeah.
When most people picture Nurgle servants, they imagine shambling horrors covered in weeping sores and naked, grotesque growths. But some diseases are insidious, revealing themselves only after everything beneath the skin has rotted away. These beings, known as the Slipskin, carry 100 strains of these illnesses, all masked by the smooth, healthy faces of other people. But when the disguise inevitably rots away, the teeming, glistening mass of the flesh beneath is revealed. Some whisper Slipskin is only one of its kind, for only the hardiest and most deluded could survive the favours that Grandfather Nurgle shows it.
Oh, I like that. That's kind of cool.
And of course, I think Sloppity Bilepiper.
Yay! We all love the Sloppity Bilepiper.
But then there's a load of Sylvaneth stuff as well that you can fight. It's a very, very cool book.
Is the Spoilpox Scrivener in there as well?
No, actually, he isn't.
Is he not?
No.
That's a surprise, because he would be so much fun to roleplay. Because they're they are the opposite of the Sloppity Bar Pipers. You know how the Sloppity Bar Pipers are manic and full of exuberant energy, and they're joking and they're laughing. The Spoilpox Scriveners are basically, they're like covert narcissists. They are spiteful and backbiting and sort of grumbling all the damn time, trying to bring everyone around them down. You know.
The next expansion, this is a bestiary, so I'm going to have to get that because.
Well, yeah, for any RPG, the bestiary books are always the best, aren't they?
Oh yes, they always make me happy. Because
I always find that they tend to inspire the narrative of the adventure, because if you're a DM, you sit there going, right, how can I get that into my game?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How can I steer my players towards that?
Mm-hmm. And to see how they react to something that big or that unpleasant, or in some cases that many teeth.
Yeah. I mean, the one from D&D I'm really struggling to get into my current campaign is the what's it called? I can't remember the name of the monster, but it's essentially like the leftovers of a dead god. It's the husk of a dead god, and they are epic monsters. They're the kind of monsters that are for the end of your campaign. Technically, the players shouldn't even really fight it, really, because it's not going to work. You've got to come up with some way for them to sort of dispel the damn thing, or cast it into some outer realm or something, you know?
That's. I don't know if you listen to Glass Cannon or not. It's an actual play podcast that goes through, amongst other things, Pathfinder, which of course is the old
Pathfinder.
Old D&D, for want of a better term.
Yeah.
And of course, there was also Starfinder, which I think they're bringing to a close now because bloody hell, that system's awful. It's really bad system. But Pathfinder, Pathfinder, they're currently fighting giants, and I'd forgotten how terrifying D&D style giants actually were, because they're not. They're elemental in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not like the different types of giants. Mm-hmm. They are essentially elementals, aren't they?
Yeah, like mortal elementals, which is an amazing idea.
The frost giants from current D&D are freaking amazing. They really are.
How so?
Like, the artwork is beautiful. Absolutely stunning. I remember fighting them like in video games like Baldur's Gate. Many moons ago.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
I mean, I'm trying to do a let's play of that at the moment, but like I'm trying to do it on the PS4 versions that were released, and the sad, as much as I love the fact that there is like console versions of these games so people can actually play them, it's just the conversion is not good.
No.
There's something wrong.
If memory serves me right, the console versions of Baldur's Gate were more like Diablo than full-blown RPGs.
Oh no, I mean like the actual games, like actual Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 have been released on PS4. But there is something wrong with the conversion. Like, it does things like textures don't load in properly.
Right.
Parts of the HUD don't load in properly, so you can't access certain menu options at particular times. I've been trying to do for the longest time. I have actually got about halfway through Planescape Torment, because they did that as well, and I just can't get any further because every single time I play it, I'm having to stop, reload, because some menu doesn't work or some texture doesn't work properly. And it's such a shame because I love those games so much.
Oh, they were fantastic. They were what I used to play when I couldn't get people together to play D&D.
Yeah. I mean, and I think for my money anyway, Planescape Torment was the best of them. In terms of story. Well, I mean, being set in Sigil for one thing.
So that's automatic George points.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, apart from what I understand, there is a book currently in production which is going to detail Sigil for the current play system. So that's just amazing for me.
That's very cool. That's very,
Well,
very cool.
it is my favourite setting. It's my favourite
yeah.
setting. I think it's just amazing. And the Lady of Pain. I mean, how can you not love the Lady of Pain? She's the shit, isn't she? I mean, she is like, first of all, she's the DM's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Because if your party is being a pain in the arse, you throw the Lady of Pain at them. Because they can do nothing against her. Like, literally nothing. They never statted the Lady of Pain, so...
No.
It's essentially you lose. It's the you lose button, you know?
Oh, man. Can you imagine if they did that to Strahd?
Well, I mean, Strahd has been statted and whatnot. He exists in the current books that detail Ravenloft.
Have you seen the current books?
He's a bastard, yeah. I mean, again, you're not really meant to fight him, are you?
No. He's a total party kill character, without a shadow of a doubt. Out of interest.
With Strahd, I never really want the party to fight him anyway. I've always more preferred introducing Strahd as like the facilitator of an adventure. Whenever I've had him in my campaigns, I've always had him sort of like approach the party in some way, shape or form, often in the guise of another character, and then reveal himself later. It's sort of like, oh, thank you so much for doing my dirty work, you know. Please feel free to explore Ravenloft. I'm sure you'll find it to your tastes.
Cassis just says, George, they can throw objects over the GM screen. Over Halloween, I sat and wrote a full history of Strahd. And it was one of the most enjoyable things I've done in a long time. Just doing the research on Strahd's backstory and everything.
He's such a brilliant sort of tragic character, isn't he?
He is. He's tragic, but also a bastard.
He's a bastard. Yeah, he's a complete evil bastard. And I love the fact that they've deliberately kept the forces that maintain Ravenloft, that cursed him to sort of be anchored to Ravenloft, unspecified.
Yeah.
So they're just dark forces. You don't know who or what they are, and you never should.
No, not for something like that. It needs to be as unknowable as possible, because the moment anybody knows something about it, you're going to go hunting for it.
Absolutely. I mean, Strahd's fun as well, because he's one of those immortal characters who is bored of everything. You know, he's lived 1 million lives over in Ravenloft. So your adventurers are kind of like toys to him, aren't they? You know, he can sort of move them around, but like pieces on a playing board, ironically, and have a bit of fun with them.
I always play Strahd as Count Magnus Lee from Vampire Slayer D.
From Vampire Slayer D.
Vampire Hunter D. Sorry. Oh, how wonderful!
Vampire Hunter D. Yeah.
How wonderful! I have not been bored once this entire evening. Yes.
Yeah, that's basically it, isn't it? You know, I have a tendency of playing him as Michael Sheen's Arrow from the Twilight films, because that's like the only laudable thing in those films.
I never ever expected you to make a Twilight reference, ever.
Right. Have you actually seen Michael Sheen in those films?
Oh yeah, he's having the time of his life.
Oh my god, it's so much fun, isn't it? It's so much fun. He's doing that British actor thing where he knows he's in a pile of shit, essentially, and is just like, I can do what I like.
Oh, he hams it.
No one's going to tell me no. The director isn't going to tell me to tone it down, so I'm just going to go nuts.
And he eats the scenery completely.
Yeah, and they just, what I love, I mean, they, like, in editing, they go for the most batshit takes imaginable. It's just insane.
Oh man, I did not expect to talk about Twilight. That's completely not thrown. Out of interest, have you seen the new Ravenloft book?
Yeah, I've got it.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's
really, really good. I mean, the one they released before was good as well, but this one is stunning.
Yeah. It's I think it's my pride of place book at the moment. It's actually in the other room.
They've done a great job with this.
No, completely. Should we get back to Warhammer? And
yeah, let's get back to Warhammer.
We've really gone off on a tangent. Out of interest,
we went off on a yes.
Out of interest, I know you've been working on your 1,000 Suns. How have they been going?
Really good, actually. Yeah, I'm really enjoying doing my Shattered Thousand Suns. Really enjoying them. Started work on the actual sorcerers now. They're going to be a little bit more elaborate than the sort of ghostly spectral rubrique. So they're going to have the same style armor where it's like ghostly, but they're going to have the banding done and like metals and whatnot and all of the details done because they are much more stable, obviously, because of their psychic abilities and whatnot. So yeah, working on them, and that I'm really now I've got a theme down, and now I've got like a paint scheme down for them. I am just having a blast with them. Love them.
Awesome. That's I want to show something off here. So some of you might know, some of you might not. I've got a 3D printer.
Yeah.
And I'm in love with it. I am. If you could only see my desk. I mean, how about some Saturnine shoulder pads? Yeah, you can't really see them there, but yeah, there's that. Or how about some squats?
Hey!
Or how about whoopsie daisy? How about an old style dreadnought?
Oh, whoa! That's it's like an old Imperial dreadnought, right?
Yep, that's a Rogue Trader dreadnought.
Yeah, Jesus. Wow.
How about an Ancient Ancestor, which is the squat version of a Psyker?
Oh, I love it. An Ancient Ancestor. Is that what they used to call them?
Yep, that's what they called them.
Oh, wow.
How about squat riding a surfboard that flies?
All right, fair enough.
I've got a Hearth Lord, which I don't know how well people can see. But yeah, there's all sorts I've been able to do with it.
Brilliance.
At the moment,
absolute brilliance.
At the moment, I've mostly been working on squat stuff, but I do have other things I want to try and do. I'm just having a look to see if I can find it. I think I've put it away at the moment.
Have you heard the rumblings that there may even be like squats, like a squat equivalent army in production, Adam?
I've told you before about my Chaos Android army, haven't I?
Yeah.
How I built a Chaos Android army and then
they released the Necrons effectively.
And how I built a thing army, what do you call it? Not Grom, Skarsnik. A Skarsnik centered army for the Night Goblins, and then they release an army list for a Skarsnik centered army. And how this is the thing that this is the thing that keeps happening. I firmly believe that the moment I finish this army, that when it's painted, when it's done, when all I've got really left now is a subterranean digging vehicle and a tarantula to find and make, and that's the army done. And once it's all painted, within a week they'll announce the squats.
Yeah, they'll have like a full miniatures range, right?
Mm-hmm. Living Ancestor. The Living Ancestor is just going for the chat here. Living Ancestor was the step down. So the Honoured Ancestor was the more powerful Psyker. Got
you. Interesting.
It
does seem to happen to you, doesn't it? It does seem to happen. There is this uncanny thing where you almost like preempt what Games Workshop are going to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at my Ironjaws, the Beast Hunters, and then they release the Cruel Boys. It's like...
Yeah, it's slightly weird, actually.
It's infuriating is what it is.
Adam, start an Emperor's Children army.
I don't want to.
Try and convert a Fulgrim or something.
Tell you what, I will actually give that a go. I will try, once I've got everything else off the desk, I will try to convert a Fulgrim just to see what happens.
Well, I mean, it's easy to do now. All you need is Morathai and Zigvold, and you can it's easy. You just put them together and you've got Fulgrim.
Yeah, that's true. That's not as much fun. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use an actual snake. Sit still, you little bastard.
Yeah, just preserved him formaldehyde or something, yeah?
What? It's got to be dead? Oh.
Yeah, right, okay. That's a very dynamic miniature.
Yeah, it's trying to eat you. As I've super glued a Sigvold to its head.
Oh man, that miniature. I mean, I've got Zigfold, but he's beautiful. He is. The miniature is absolutely stunning. But I'm afraid to paint it at the minute because it's probably one of the best miniatures they've released for years.
It's one of those ones where I keep looking at it, going, I wouldn't mind it just to paint, but my paint skills are terrible for what that needs. Yeah.
It is one of the more elaborate miniatures, and it needs like a neat painting style, doesn't it?
Yeah, which I don't have.
That one. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it eventually, but I need to work up to it. I mean, I'm actually painting Fabius at the moment. I'm painting the new Fabius pile. That's a lovely miniature. It's a lovely miniature. So much detail. I mean, it is tricky. It's a tricky one to paint. That is. I've got his face done. What I've tried to do, because it's always a difficult one with Fabius, because like you want to create a contrast between his flesh and the flesh of his coat.
Yeah.
Which is difficult, you know. So I've tried to make the coat look more vital than he is, because I want him to look like he is in the books. You know, he's quite ill looking.
So little
which
tiny
is actually
bits of blue.
fun too. Well, yeah, that's it. I started with a purple base and then sort of built up to a flesh tone, and that seems to have worked really well.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
But he is a lovely miniature. I mean, that's an example of what we were talking about earlier. You know, when you asked like, what's the best era for Chaos Space Marine miniatures? That Fabius is a stunner. All the characters are actually the Chaos characters at the moment, just amazing. I've made up the Ahriman miniature as well on his disc. That's amazing. That is, I mean, for my stone cold favourite Chaos character, probably my favourite character in all of 40k, maybe my favourite character, full stop, you know? Yeah, they've done him massive justice.
Oh, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. That's an interesting question, actually. If you took, say we were on Watch Mojo, right? And you had to make a top 5 list, starting from 5 to 1, of your 5 favourite 40k characters, what would that be?
Ooh, God almighty, that's really tricky, because I don't think I could narrow it down, to be honest, because I like so many. Eldrad Ulthran would be there. I've always had a soft spot for Eldrad ever since I was a kid. Used to have the old metal miniature of him, long time ago. Oh God. Egrim Van Horstman would be there from the old fantasy battle system.
Yeah,
I love him. Fulgrim would definitely be on there somewhere. Lorgar would definitely be on there somewhere. Iskander Kane from the Black Legion books would be there.
I'm surprised that Malus Darkblade's not turning up.
Yeah, there's too many, to be honest. I can't do top 5. I think it's too many. Just too many. I love Abaddon, you know. I love Ahriman. Fabius would be there. Trazyn the Infinite would be there. Zarek would be there. As would Imhotep, actually. I like both of them. I know they're sort of like contrasting to one another now. In fact, I love the way they've done that in the new Necron Codex, because there was the danger that Imhotep could have been overshadowed by Zarek. But actually, Imhotep has been kind of contrasted by him. Imhotep is like, no, fuck off. you damned our race and then sodded off across the stars, you know, for millennia. You are the cause of our damnation. I'm here trying to make things better for us, you know? Why should anyone follow you?
Have you read The Twice Dead King yet?
I haven't yet, but I intend to. I very much intend to.
It's a very, very good book when it comes to what it's like to be a Necron. And what it was like to be a Necrontyr.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, because like they've deliberately kept the Necrontyr vague, haven't they? They've never shown you what they looked like.
No.
For example.
Yeah. And one of the reasons
they were humanoid. Clearly they were humanoid of some description, but they were alien as well. So what did they actually look like? It's hard to say, isn't it?
They all looked like Michael Fassbender.
Oh my God!
That's my that's what I think. That's what they all look like.
That's like a weird fantasy role. I'm not even going to go into that.
But unfortunately, it's all Michael Fassbender dressed as Magneto. Very weird.
It's all right. It's fine. Absolutely fine.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, if I was going to do a top 5, I'd have to split it into 40k and 40k fantasy
and
AOS.
Even then, I wouldn't be able to do it.
No.
Zigvold would be there. Glutos would be there now. Slanesh himself would be there now. Magnus, obviously. Magnus would probably be at the top for me.
Yeah.
Magnus or Ahriman, I don't know which one, but it'd be one of them. I love the story of Magnus the Red. I absolutely love his story. I think he's the most tragic. I think he's the most interesting of the Primarchs, to be perfectly honest. He's the most ambiguous for me. And I think in his demonic form, he's the most fascinating, because all of the demon Primarchs are like demigods, effectively. They are like almost like just second tier from the Chaos Gods themselves. But Magnus is the most legitimately divine of all of them. I mean, he's like, whenever he occurs in the fiction, you never know what you're getting, because he has so many different aspects and facets. Whoever looks at him sees something different.
Yeah.
And they perceive something different as well. So he like talks differently and is different from moment to moment. Which is wonderful. He is like contradiction made manifest. He's as close to Zeech itself as it's possible to get in like a semi-mortal plane, you know? Which I love. I think that's absolutely amazing. Oh God, who else? I mean, there are legitimately too many. Heinrich Kemmler.
Oh, Heinrich Kemmler's...
I mean, for God's sake, I mean, right?
I think
Heinrich Kemmler.
Kemmler would have to be my number 2.
Yeah,
right.
Nagash.
Right,
Nagash himself.
Old fantasy. Let's have a think. Skarsnik.
Yeah.
Thankwall.
Yes, Thankwall, definitely.
Not him, no. Love Thankwall so much. Skarsnik, Thankwall. Ooh, then Nagash.
Yeah, Nagash is right up there. What I love about Nagash is when you look at him in his holistic sense, like from the very beginning. So I love the contrast between the frightened little boy who used to haunt the tombs of Khemri because he was terrified of death, to the kind of the god of death, to becoming death itself, just because he was afraid. The books make it very clear that was his motivation.
Yeah.
He was afraid of death, so he became death. You know, it's amazing. I just love it. I love it to bits.
I always like it in the current setting where he has these little, not flashbacks, but like these inklings of memories of being flesh, and it's
it's really
beautiful.
Good. It's really good stuff.
There's a great one in the Malign Portent towards the end when Nagash is looking at the Great Black Pyramid and going, "It seems familiar, but I can't place the memory." It's like,
yeah. Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because he's been alive, for quote unquote, for want of a better term, for millennia.
Yeah.
Of course, he would have forgotten loads of stuff.
Yeah, there's only so many memories a single skull can hold.
Yeah, right. I mean, other characters, Azrael of the Dark Angels, love him. Who is the Interrogator Chaplain of the Dark Angels that is so extreme, even the other Dark Angels don't like him. What is his name now? It's just slipped my mind. But he's the named character of the Interrogator Chaplains.
Right.
Who has been he's so extreme, he's been censored and demoted 12 times. But he somehow always manages to get back to where to being a chaplain, to being an Interrogator Chaplain.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing. I love that. Dante, the Blood Angels. Mephiston.
Yeah.
I mean, there are just too many. There are way, way, way too many.
I think this is something I'm going to have to do this week. I'm going to have to try and, on all media that we're on, get people to make a top 5 of their favourite characters, because I'm fascinated by this one now. This has now become a really interesting thing to me. I like the fact
Sevatar of the Night Lords, Sevatar, Talos, these Night Lords characters that Aaron Dembski Bowden has transformed and made into just the most interesting characters imaginable. Asmodai, that's it, that's the one. Asmodai, yes. So extreme, all of the other, even like the inner circle of the Dark Angels hate his guts.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely hate his guts and think that he's too extreme. He goes too far, right? So you can imagine what he's like. But he gets results. He actually gets the Fallen to confess and to absolve themselves before they're horrifically murdered.
I'm thinking about this here. So
Cypher.
So fantasy setting, right? Here's what I've got for a fantasy setting. For the old world, anyhow. Skarsnik. Thankwell. I'm going to move Nagash to 3, to 2, Gotrek to 1, right? So that would be my top 5. In 40k, Old One Eye.
Oh yeah, God, Old One Eye.
Doom Rider.
All right, we'll have to allow that one.
Khan the Betrayer.
Khan, yeah.
Had to be Khan. This is where it gets tricky.
Yeah, right.
2 left. Fabius Bile. No.
Yeah.
Trazin, then Fabius.
Yeah, Trazin, then Fabius. Yeah. All of the Necron characters are brilliant. I mean, one of my absolute favorite characters in all of 40k is Nemesis Zandrek.
Yep.
And Vargard Oberon, who's basically, Nemesis Zandrek is Don Quixote.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically Don Quixote.
That's exactly what he is.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it to bits. I think he's hilarious,
I'm now thinking top 5 for Age of Sigmar.
Oh, God.
Now, the problem is that Age of Sigmar came swinging out the gate, and every character is absolutely fantastic.
That's it. That's the problem, isn't it? I mean, my top is Zigvold.
Of course, yeah.
Love him. Love him. I mean, you know what the funny thing is? When he was first released back in Fantasy Battle, I didn't like him at all.
No, that's because
I thought he was boring. I thought he was a very narrow interpretation of what Slaanesh is about. I thought the miniature was a bit shit, to be honest.
It wasn't good.
But yeah.
It wasn't good.
No. It wasn't, no. Argel Tal, yes! Of course! I mean, wow, yeah, Argel Tal. One of the best characters ever written for 40k. Gotta be. Got to be. And by the way, guys, minor spoilers for Betrayer, but didn't you just love it when Khan's axe ended up buried in Erebus's fucking back?
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that satisfying?
I mean, to be honest with you, I had to fight about the idea of putting Erebus into a top 5. Because
Erebus is great.
Oh yeah, I hate
Erebus
him.
is great because he is the character you love to hate, isn't he? His hatefulness is what makes him so cool, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you're not meant to side with him. You're not meant to like him. You're not meant to agree with him in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
He is perfect. Absolutely.
He's
pitch perfect.
Right. He's pure in his villainy, isn't he? He's like every time he occurs, he is hateful. He's absolutely repulsively hateful, and that's what he's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh God, I just want to flush him out of an airlock.
Have you read, by the way? Did you read the book? What's it called? The Child of Chaos, where it shows you where he came from.
No, I've not read that.
It's brilliant. How he came to be who he is. It's absolutely. His name isn't even Erebus. He stole that name from a ranting, drunken, mad preacher on the streets of one of the cities of the Wordbearer's homeworld. He didn't even have a name. He was an orphan. He was no one.
That's amazing. That's a
Absolutely
really cool concept.
No one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? He stole the name Erebus.
He stole his identity from the get-go.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
He's never... You know the sad thing though, guys, it is massively satisfying when Erebus gets slapped around. It is, but do you know he's still alive?
Mm-hmm.
He's still around in the present day. Yeah, he is still the master of faith for the word bearers, and he is the head of the Dark Council of word bearers. So technically, he's the lord of the word bearers now, because Lorgar hasn't been seen for 10,000 years. He's been up in his tower, in his reclusium, communing with chaos and the warp. So technically, Erebus has gotten everything he ever wanted.
Can you imagine if they just brought out Primaris Erebus?
Oh, like Demon Prince Erebus. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? They've got to release him in 40k as a character. It's him and Corfeiron, surely.
Yeah.
They've got to release them as miniatures in 40k.
Isn't it weird that they've never actually released Corfeiron?
I am surprised at that, yeah. I mean,
that is actually really weird.
He's an obvious one to do, isn't he?
Now you come to mention it, absolutely he is. Huh.
Belisarius Call, another favourite character.
True, actually. Oh, God, yeah. Actually, I need to knock somebody off and put Call in place.
Right, Call is ace. Call is an amazing character.
Alright, Old One Eye's getting knocked off.
Oh, poor Old One Eye.
Old One Eye must go. I am not removing Doom Rider from my list.
I wonder if they'll ever bring Doom Rider back. Will they have the cojones to do it? You know.
Not only do I want them to bring him back, I want them to have a 1-to-1 replica of his old mini.
Oh God, no! It was terrible.
That's what made it so good. In the same way
terrible.
In the same way that original Nagash miniature is awful, but I love it. Doom Rider is.
It's so bad.
It's a failure on every level. Incredible.
Yeah. Well, they never brought him back for the 3.5 codex, did they? He lasted for not even like an entire edition, but for like half an edition. There's some kind of record. I mean, you know, it suits his character. He comes and he goes. Yeah, he does.
David on the chat just says the Erebus, Corfeiron, and Horus Heresy minis are pretty good. True enough, actually. Yeah, they're really, really nice. Actually. Yeah.
I mean, like, Pharaon is stunning. He's an absolutely wonderful piece of work. Yeah, I mean, the thing about Corfeiron, of course, is that he's a very unusual character because he's not a space marine.
No.
Not in the technical sense. He was too old to actually take on the enhancements. So he's an enhanced human, technically.
Mm-hmm. I think people haven't seen Doom Rider, so...
Oh God, don't! Are you going to show them?
Oh yes, I think that we
Are you going to show them Doom Rider?
I think
it sucks.
I think we all need to. Oh God, damn it! Every single Doom Rider that I'm finding is a really cool kit bash.
There's some amazing. I remember way. This was like over 10 years ago when I first started hanging around on like the Bolter and Chainsword back when it was like one of the only 40k forums. Someone had done a Doom Rider where there was a rule where it was like he had like wheels of fire. It was supposed to be like a heavy metal album cover thing, not on the miniature. So someone had interpreted that literally and had sculpted fire on the wheels. It looked amazing.
Oh man, I'm not kidding. I cannot find
the original miniature.
No. There it is. Right. It's like the internet removed it to make sure that nobody could see it. And
what a surprise!
No, I'm not having that. I'm not having anybody remove this beauty from me. It's
absolutely true. Yes, the second and third ed codices were just awash with characters who got dumped. Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. For lots of reasons as well. Mostly they were terrible, you know. But then again, so much. The early third ed codices were mostly terrible. They were mostly terrible. Because that shift, that was like the biggest dynamic shift 40k had ever had before the jump from 7th to 8th ed, which was also one of, massive dynamic shift. And they were just trying to get as many codices out as possible. Unfortunately, they were bad. For the most part, they were really bad. Could you stick it on Twitter? Someone has asked.
I'll stop everyone from having to look at him now. Or will I?
Yes, so... Oh, there he is. There he is, bloody hell. Oh my god, it's bad, isn't it? I mean, he's supposed to be a demon prince as well, and he just looks like a Chaos Marine, doesn't he? I mean, it's also, the bike is just, it's barely even altered from the basic Chaos Space Marine bike of the era.
Very true.
Bad,
it
bad
is.
stuff. I mean, it's a bad show, that is.
I disagree. I think he's wonderful. I think he's a absolutely wonderful little character. And all I ever hear when I see him is the music from Iced Earth's Storm Rider. So I look at him and just start thinking to myself, ride on, Doom Rider, Doom Rider. And it makes me happy.
Well, you know, they did it. They managed to do it with Zigfold. They made him wonderful. And probably it's got to be one of the best minis in AOS. He is something else, I'm telling you. So if they can do it with Zigfold, maybe they could do it with Doom Rider as well.
Maybe. Chances of anybody actually thinking about Doom Rider enough to bring him back?
Oh, probably not. Probably not, no. I mean, if as and when we do get the Emperor's Children Codex, I can almost guarantee you one of the special characters is probably going to be Eidolon.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Because he's still knocking about and has, turned up quite a lot in the fiction and the fluff, so would make sense.
Here's a question then, which is
Lucius.
worse?
Lucius the Eternal, he's a great character too. Typhus is a great character. Ignatius Grilgor. It's just so many. It's
All right, then, here's another question. We are just way off topic tonight.
I know, right?
If there was any characters that you wanted from Old Fantasy Battle to make a reappearance in Age of Sigmar, leading a new army, so it's not to join any existing armies, they've got to be leading a whole new faction. Who do you want? And how does the faction work? Yeah.
That's very tricky because it's sort of asking to create a faction, you know?
Mm-hmm. But it's a faction that's built out of the character.
Yeah, that's tricky. I mean, I can definitely name. Very good. He's great. Love it. Love it. I can definitely name characters I would like, from existing factions that I would like to come back. I mean, we've spoken about like my love of Egrim van Horstman. Mm-hmm. He's got, joined the Disciples of Zeech, definitely. There's a very obscure character from that Champions of Chaos book that you sent me, who I remember very well, who's never made a reappearance. Count Mordrek the Damned?
Yes.
Very strange character who is not blessed by the Chaos Gods, but is cursed by them.
Yep.
He has eternal life, can never die, and doesn't worship the Chaos Gods, but is compelled to serve them regardless.
No.
Very sad character. I like him.
That's a really good answer, actually. So how would his army work?
I don't know. Honestly, well, it would be like the Lost and the Damned, but in a very literal sense, wouldn't it? It would be characters and forces who don't worship chaos directly, but are sort of like compelled to serve chaos because they have no choice.
Okay, yeah.
That'd be interesting. That would be interesting.
So his army could be then a ragtag mutants and things like that.
Yeah.
The people who have experienced
the Green
mutation.
Knight. Wow.
Oh, that's a good
the Green
shout.
Knight in the chat. Yeah.
So would that be Green Knight, Coral Dawn saying the Green Knight, full lead into mystical Arthurian knights in a way that the Bretonians never quite did, go full Welsh as opposed to French Romance. Yes.
Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting, wouldn't it?
I am all in for that.
Yeah. I mean, I would like, there is one character from Fantasy Battle, Morgana Le Fay.
Yeah.
I'd like to see her make an appearance.
She was an elf wearing false ears.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I remember
that would be interesting.
I remember when they released the Morgana Le Fay sculpt. It was an absolute gorgeous thing. I remember just looking at it going, I don't think I could paint that.
Yeah.
Even now, I don't.
Back in the day.
I don't even think now I could paint it.
Yeah, I mean, and it was all from an era as well where they had issues with human scale miniatures. most of the humanoid miniatures from that era that are not exaggerated or distorted in some way were pretty bad, weren't they?
In some ways, I mean, you look at that original Vlad von Carstein miniature. It's not good when you think about how large his skull must be.
It's not amazing, is it? Let's face it. The one that came later during the end times was way better.
Yeah. Was missing something, and I don't know what. I think
it's a difficult one. I mean, if they're going to do Vlad von Carstein, they need to really look back at how Dracula has been portrayed throughout the ages, because that's who he is. It's Dracula, isn't it?
Yes,
you know?
yes.
That's what we should really look for, you know? I mean, they did for a lot of the miniatures from that era. I mean, like the armor style of the vampires is clearly based on, loosely, to some degree anyway, on the armor that Gary Oldman wears at the beginning of Bram Stoker's Dracula, right?
Oh, bring back Dogs of War. Yeah, I'm in for that. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love the Dogs of War.
Totally.
Totally up for that. I've got one for you, right? And it's an obvious answer for me. Kemmler, right? And
Kemmler, yeah.
You bring him back at the head of a undead Chaos army.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Really
well, that would make sense, because he did declare for Chaos at the end of the end times, didn't he?
If you've ever read The Return of Nagash, the moment he does that is... Oh, it's chef's kiss good.
Yeah, is it good, yeah?
It's a very, very cool moment.
No one has treated Kemmler particularly well, have they, to be perfectly honest? I mean, he spent so much of his time wandering, like, gibbering and insane and lost to himself, didn't he?
Well, he only ever really got any real love in the RPG. On the tabletop, he never really got as much as I feel like he deserved, which is a massive shame, because Kemmler's an amazing character. Also, he owned a Dalek.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because he's called the Lich Master, isn't he? Like the Lich Lord. And that never really manifested to any great degree.
He was either the Trump King or the holder of a Chaos Dead guy. You know, that was pretty much about it.
It's such a shame.
Really good point here from David. Completely minted your name there, I do apologise. Vlad's second mini was full of rage but lacked any elegance.
If they bring it back, maybe go full Castlevania. Yeah. Base him on like how Dracula appears in Castlevania. That's a great idea.
Yep, a round of applause for that one.
That would be perfect. That would be absolutely perfect.
There's 10 pence going in your piggy bank. That's that's a really good idea. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, make him very, very, very regal. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the vampires, the Soul Blight now have their own very particular aesthetics going on. Vlad should be his own thing. He certainly shouldn't be like, say, Manfred or Neferata. He should be like full Gothic, shouldn't he? Full Gothic.
Kemmler's reveal in the Felix and Gotrek books was aces. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I'm so happy that Kemmler's going to turn up again. Wonder what Kemmler would make of the Weeping Angels. He'd just be staring at them going, I dare you. I dare you. I double dare you.
It depends on what frame of mind he'd be in. If he's in one of his mad phases, then he'd probably be like talking to them, wouldn't he? Gibbering and, trying to make friends with them.
And this is my new wife, a weeping angel. Yeah,
didn't they? I'm sure I remember reading somewhere that they were talking about there being some new factions in 3.0.
Yes. Well, we know that we're getting the Oathbreakers. They're turning.
Yes, the Oathbreakers, definitely.
Which is why I've not started 3D printing a Chaos Dwarf army, just so you're aware.
Yep, not worth it.
Nope. not with something like that's that close. I'll wait and see what they look like first. Which I'm very excited about, because I think the Oathbreakers might be me starting a new army. I might not be able to help myself on that one.
Well, they are your army, aren't they?
Chaos Dwarves.
They're your force, so.
Yeah.
And to have them dedicated again, to have an actual dedicated army for them again, would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
It would, especially if they started, if they went full on and brought back the entire idea of Hashut and the pillars, the stone cities, that type of thing. I would be right into it, because there's so much
space for it now. The space for it now. I mean, like, there's a metaphysics that is outside of chaos. they can do it. Because gods can, like, as we've seen, gods can sort of spring into being anywhere in the mortal realms, really.
Yeah.
So now there's no reason why there shouldn't be a Hashut who is not like an aspect of... He was an aspect of Khorne, wasn't he?
I think so,
originally?
yeah. It was Khorne, but then it was kind of like Zeech got in there a little bit as well and played around with the idea. So Khorne didn't get everything. But it was the part of Khorne that was the making armor, making industry, making furnaces.
It's the industry of war, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's the industry of desolation. Yeah.
Because if you remember at that point, Khorne was he was the war machine. Yeah, that was the idea of Khorne. It wasn't just blood for the blood god. It expanded out.
No, technology was one of his aspects, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Technology was actually one of his aspects, because of course, and which makes absolute sense in historical terms, like real world historical terms. It is a very sad fact of human history that technological advancements have been driven by war, unfortunately.
Yeah. Medical ones as well.
Which is a very sad commentary on our species.
I've always thought, if you met another like an alien species out there, is there only one type of format of life that can exist and flourish, or can there be multiple different types of formats of life? Because there's only one format.
What, like say silicon-based as opposed to carbon-based?
No, I'm thinking more of a sociological imprint.
Oh, in cultural terms, like ideological terms. Right.
Can a species survive enough to get to space travel without having that bloody history?
Yeah, now that would be fascinating, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That would be absolutely fascinating. I sincerely hope so.
Me too.
I sincerely hope so. Because if we went out there and found that actually the universe is like the 40k universe paints it to be, where everything is driven by war and by... I'd be like, you know what, screw it. I don't want any of it. Who cares? It'd be such a nihilistic look at life, wouldn't it?
It would be. It really would be. But,
which is part of the fun of 40k, of course, because that's exactly what it paints. It's complete nihilism.
Yep, nihilism with a heavy dash of satire.
That's
really
absolutely
need to get the satire back in there, I think.
Well, I mean, I was very happy to read their statement recently,
absolutely,
where they owned it, for the first time in many years, they owned it, where, they put, of course, I mean, the fact you've got to really is in and of itself a really sad commentary upon our ability to interpret and discern satire on a cultural level, because of course it's a fucking satire. I mean, you've got this universe where people are lobotomized at birth, and parts of them are replaced by machines, but so they can perform their functions. Of course, it's a satire.
Did you read
the good guys of the universe are Nazis? They are giant, genetically enhanced Ubermensch super Nazis. I mean, come on. Of course, it's a satire.
Did you read the interview that Dembski Bowden did for? I can't remember which paper it was, but it was...
I didn't,
It was fascinating. He one of the things he said, and it's really stuck with me, is the good guys can't be the good guys because millions of people are sacrificed every day in order to keep an old man not dead. And it's just like...
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. I mean, if you can't get that 40k is satire, then... you shouldn't be engaging with fiction at all, because it's so overt. It's so overt. The extremity of the universe and of everything in it demonstrates that, right?
Absolutely.
It's absurd if you don't get that. It's absurd.
I think it's absurd if you start looking up to it.
Not to get too soapboxy and political about it, but there's some very dark and complex stuff going on here. I mean, the far right, as it currently exists, it's not always that they misapprehend or misunderstand this stuff.
No.
They deliberately take it and abuse it and distort it to make it part of their arsenal, So they rob it of satire, yeah?
Absolutely, and that's, I think...
And it's a really sad thing. They do it with a lot of stuff. I mean, you will find for example, you'll find loads of, far-right neo-Nazi white supremacist shitheads with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker as their avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you've seen that film, then how can you not get the implications of it? How can you be that ignorant? And the truth is that many of them are not. They've just deliberately taken it because it kind of robs it of its satire. It robs it of its power.
Mm-hmm. There's a really interesting thing that's happening at the moment. This is quite a nice one. No sane person actually wants to live in the 40k universe. Correct.
I mean, my God. I mean, there are very few entities in the 40k universe that enjoy themselves, and they are so rare. They're notable for it. So, like the Homunculi, the Drukhari Homunculi are one example. They enjoy themselves because they have no consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing matters to them. They Urian Rakarth, the eldest Homunculi, he collects elaborate and exotic deaths. So he deliberately goes out into the universe trying to find interesting ways to die because he's that bored.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter to him. It just doesn't matter to him. He will just be reborn, right?
Mm-hmm. Before we
there's hardly anyone else,
Before we move on, I do have to point out. Do you know? I'm going to mash his name. I know I am. Thomas Purin, the head designer.
Yeah, Perinian. Yeah.
Right. I've only ever seen it written down. I've never heard it pronounced. So.
Thomas Perinian. Yeah.
There we go. Right. He's doing this thing at the moment. I don't think it's him who's doing it. I think he's just sharing it out to get more publicity for it. And it's a movement called "There Are No Nazis in Valhalla," and it's taking back the Viking symbology from the extreme right, and it's absolutely
from
beautiful.
From the Eddas, from Nordic mythology, yeah. Brilliant. Because it needs doing, doesn't it? It needs doing.
Absolutely. And for a happier sentence, Cassius335 has asked, if you could be a rich man if you moved to Warhammer, Classic or AOS, would you?
You know what? The AOS realms, probably. There are places where you can be happy in the AOS realms. Mm-hmm. It's not like 40k, right?
Yeah.
There are cities, there are places in the realms that are beautiful and are worth exploring. Mm-hmm. Because there's metaphysics there. You can have revelations and, especially if you live out sort of towards the edges of the realms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could have some real fun.
Yeah, it would probably be somewhere like Hirsch or Ulgu for me.
But you wouldn't move to Altdorf. You wouldn't be a rich merchant in Altdorf.
No, definitely not. I'd want one of the realms that maybe perhaps has like a functioning sewer system for one thing. That would be nice.
That's the best answer.
Or something. Something approaching like workable medicine or, something like that. But no, it'd probably be Hirsch or Ulgu, a place where you can engage with the metaphysics of the realms and you can actually learn stuff. You can do more than learn stuff. You can become one with it. You can sort of you can transform. You can become a magician or a sorcerer and you can actually engage with it.
I would only do it if I could be a rich man in Gur, learning the wizard's way, and I become the rat lord, and not Skaven, actual rats, and everywhere I go there's just a carpet of rats that carry me there.
You've got competition in that now though, haven't you? There's that Soulblight guy.
Oh, the Rat Prince.
The Rat Prince,
everything I just said but geckos. No, everything I just said but hedgehogs. There we go. That would be mine.
Absolutely. Nazis can get fucked. A simple adage that should never need clarification.
Agreed.
Yes, absolutely true. Absolutely true.
I quite like the way that you went absolutely true there at the beginning of that sentence after I just said hedgehogs. It almost like hedgehogs. Absolutely true. No clarification needed. Hedgehogs.
Yeah.
Merchant factor in Far Cathay. I wouldn't want to live in Far Cathay. Oh my God, they've got a dragon for an emperor.
The thing is as well, if you are living in part of the old world, then you know where you're headed. It's all going to end.
True.
It's all going to go bang,
What if, right? Okay, stick with me on
I wouldn't
this
mind
one.
being a vampire. I think I could handle that.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like fun. Part of Neferata's court. That would be fun.
Oh, do you want to go for Neferata?
And again, Again, the vampires in the AOS realm, nothing really matters much to them. Nagash can be a bit of a pain in the backside, but Nagash very often, for millennia, is just asleep or doing stuff on his own.
True.
Odds on, you could operate for a very long time as a vampire in one of the many courts or whatever, and be pretty okay.
I've got a concept for you, right? You're living in the old world. You've magically transported yourself to the old world, and you're living there, doing old world things, right? You're aware,
as you do.
You're aware that the end times is coming, and at some point, you know it's going to happen. So whatever means, whatever magic book, whatever roller coaster ride, whatever magic door you use to get into the old world, you're now going to use to get out. But you don't know where you're going to end up, right? Do you try to save people, or do you leave them to go and just go yourself? I myself...
Well, if you have the means of saving people, then if you have the means, definitely.
I myself would try to raise a small army of orcs and open that door in the vain hope it took me to Harry Potter World, because that would be hilarious.
Oh my god, I'd love to see old school black orcs materialize inside Hogwarts. That would make me smile.
See what I'm thinking
of? That would make me smile.
No, actually better than that. I saved the Chaos Dwarfs, right? This is my... I saved the Chaos Dwarfs, and we enter Harry Potter World, but we entered at the end where Voldemort's attacking Hogwarts. God. So you've got that sequence where they're all at the other end of the bridge, and they're just Chaos Dwarfs behind them, pushing them off.
God, if I manifested in that world, I'd be very unhappy.
But it depends.
I'd be trying to find a way out as quickly as possible.
It depends on what you did, because if you could introduce...
It's true. It's true. I mean, there's a lot you could do.
Well, you could introduce firearms for a start. Yeah, that would solve a few problems.
Yeah. God almighty. I'm not going to get into a rant on Harry Potter, because that will go on forever. I've done that on Strange Playgrounds many times.
I'm highly amused by the idea of just pulling a Walter PPK out and shooting Voldemort. Problem solved. Bye.
Problem solved, yeah. Oh, man.
Or you take
You
take a load of Terminators and you just went, look, unregistered psyker.
But no, I mean, the 40k universe, there's nothing good, is there? I mean, no. Where would you find even basic ease or contentment in that universe? It's just ugh.
Well, there is a very easy way of getting ease and contentment. You turn to chaos.
I was going to say, you declare for Slaanesh or for Nurgle, right?
Yeah. Then
if you're a Nurgle follower, then and you manage to survive to the point where you become you get the blessings of Nurgle, then definitely, because the followers of Nurgle love themselves. They love what goes on,
Absolutely, yeah. They're very, very happy.
Yeah. Slaanesh, the followers of Slaanesh have a grand old time. It's often very brief for mortal followers of Slaanesh, but they don't care about that. When they expire, that's transcendent experience as well. Did you ever read Angel Exterminator, Adam?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit in that where there's a group of Emperor's children that are, because of some void, ship-to-ship void warfare, one of their ships gets the side blown out of it, and there are Emperor's children who are cast out into the void, and they're saved by a group of Iron Warriors, and the Iron Warriors are going around looking at these Space Marines who've been exposed to the void, so their blood vessels are rupturing, their eyes are vitrifying, they are dying horrific deaths, and the Emperor's children are basically having orgasms. It's okay, and the Iron Warriors are really, rightly disturbed by this.
No, don't like this at all. Just push them back out.
Yeah. They are basically they're dying, they're dying slowly because they're Space Marines and whatnot. But they're saying, no, don't try to help me. Don't administer anesthetics. This is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It's right. Okay.
You've got to have a choice. Would you become a Noise Marine? Because they're always happy.
Well, Noise Marines are amazing. I mean, I love the way they're portrayed in the Fabius Bile books.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
because
absolutely.
there's a tendency for noise marines to be portrayed in very narrow terms. In the Fabius Bile books, they've got this like priestly quality to them,
Yeah.
where they are trying to recreate the birthing cry of Slanesh, the cry that ruptured the universe, the cry that created the Eye of Terror, the cry that murdered the Eldari race, right? That's what they're searching after. That's what they're trying to recreate.
It's so cool.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, it really is. It's just such a cool thing to...
It's a cool concept, and I love the notion that in the ship where he encounters them, they operate in their own weird little temple hive within the ship, and no one else goes there because the noise and the pitch is too extreme. It would kill almost anyone who goes there. It's amazing stuff. I love it.
We haven't talked about any of the stuff that we were going to talk about. We've just kind of really.
No, what were we going to talk about?
Well, I was just use the new releases and stuff to discuss. Like we did talk a little bit about the dragons, so that's cool.
We talked about the dragons. We talked about the up and coming stuff, like the rumors that's going on and whatnot. I mean, we know it's sad that the Custodes and the Gene Stealer cults have been pushed back, but things being what they are, that kind of thing is inevitable at this point. It's fine. I'd prefer them to push it back and do it properly.
Yep, completely and utterly. We don't want to have another big issue take place, so to speak.
No, it's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. And by God, have you seen some of the new rules?
Yeah, Gene Stealer cult. Holy crap.
What? Whoa, yeah, what the heck? That whole thing with like placing crossfire markers. That's loads of fun. How fun is that as a game playing mechanic?
I want to do Gene Stealer cult again.
Yeah, I mean, like what that does is it introduces this layer of play that's going to be unique to the Gene Stealer cult. So you're going to be like preempting and trying to maneuver your enemy into places where you can get these crossfires happening. It's great.
I honestly didn't see anything like that coming. I thought the Gene Stealer cults were pretty much where they were going to stay, but to add all this new madness to it,
this is Ninth Ed though.
Yeah.
This is Ninth Ed. This is what they do. This seems to be what they've gone for with the codices. I mean, they're all great. They're all really good. Did you see the latest with the Drukhari?
Yes, it didn't work.
Oh, that made me smile. I've got to say, that made me smile. Kudos to Games Workshop for being reactive and responsive,
Absolutely.
For trying to balance things out. Hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. The Drukhari players have just found new get-arounds in the codex. They've just reorganized a little bit, and it's still a killer codex. It's brilliant. I just love it.
It's still top of the sheet. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. I just love it.
Happy.
I think a lot of it is just that saving their presence. I think it's just that Space Marine players generally are just so used to being top of the tier that they're not used to having a Xenos army that is now top tier, and I don't mind. I'm kind of happy.
It's the Drukhari at number 1, the Orcs are at number 2, aren't they? And that's
pretty much, yeah. That's pretty much, and the Orcs are still brilliant too.
I
mean, they had to limit that army list, the buggy army list. Yes, they had to introduce those limits.
That thing was amazing.
It was ridiculous. It was steamrollering everything. There was that brief window when the Orc Codex came out, and if you go onto YouTube and type in Orc Battles 9th Ed, there are so many battles that use that army list, and it just is ridiculous.
It's so good. It
steamrolls everything. But isn't this cool? Xenos armies, Xenos armies are where it's at. It's just brilliant.
It makes me very, very happy, honestly.
Me too.
It's such a...
I mean, it makes me wonder what are the Tau going to be like? What are the Azhyani going to be like?
In all honesty, I think if the Tau hit that kind of level, we might see people rioting.
Yeah, right.
Drugari players, life finds a way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it does. So it does.
I need that as a
I
banner.
think what they've done is they've made such a good codex in the Drukari Codex, such an adaptable, multifarious, naughty, nasty little codex with so many naughty tricks in it that it's very difficult to actually to tamp it down.
No, absolutely it is.
I don't mind that. I think it's a great codex. I'm very happy with it.
It's so much fun just watching people run screaming from it. It's like...
Yeah. It's just an amazing codex. I mean, that's the truth of it. After a few lackluster entries for like 8th ed and 7th ed, they're back. They're right on top. They are right on top, and they are stunning. They are absolutely stunning as an army. I mean, I've always had a soft spot for them, and I will be doing an Homunculi army at some point. There's no doubt in my mind. Yeah, well, how can I resist? They're Cenobites. They're Cenobites in space. I mean, it's like, how can I possibly resist? But I love the background. I just love the background and the aesthetics. I mean, I've always loved the Eldari because they were my first army. I'm always going to have a soft spot for them. But back in the day, back in 2nd ed, of course, it was the Craft World Eldar because they were the only ones you could get. The Drukari, the Dark Elder, are that, and also all of the darkness and extremity and horror that I also love. So how can I possibly resist?
Right. As I'm aware that time is getting on a little bit here, and we're not far off the 2 hour mark, I've got something for us to do this evening.
Excellent.
So I have in front of me here a character generator for Gamma World.
Okay.
Right. What we're going to do is we're going to roll some dice.
Okay.
We're going to generate a character for Gamma World 4. And then we have to come up with a character based on the generation. Because that's what Gamma World does.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough.
So what you basically get is a load of concepts that you have to put together to make a character.
Okay, fair enough.
So what we're going to do is we both get 4 rolls of the dice.
Okay.
Have you got a pen and paper there?
I do have. I've always got pen and paper. Scattered around my little place. I could just sort of reach out like that, and I would probably find pen and paper.
Now, I'm going to say this is a very quick version of the...
yeah, okay, fair enough.
So we won't get into a lot of the stats or anything like that. We're just going to go
No.
We're going to go for silly. So, we start off with the first origin.
Okay.
And you get hypercognitive.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that's your first origin.
So someone who lives in their head quite a lot, yeah? Massively intelligent, but lives in their head quite a lot.
Okay. My first one.
Fair enough.
I get... I get rat swarm.
Well... Ask and thou shalt receive, apparently.
Second first origin. For you. 5, 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeti.
Okay. So the image I'm getting from this is sort of like an insular Yeti creature who's lived up on a mountain for its entire life in a cave contemplating things.
My first origin. That's 5. Simeon.
Simeon, okay.
Simeon. Right, I'm not entirely sure what to do with that one. Right, so we're now on to the secondary traits. 6, 7, 8, 10. Mindbreaker.
Mindbreaker. Oh, interesting. This is all very coherent actually. Certainly for mine, he looks like he's got like psionic abilities, right? he spent so much time in isolation, sort of communing with the universe away from civilization, that he actually can sort of break people's minds.
I've got giant.
Giant. Rat Swarm Simian Giant. Okay.
Your final secondary?
6.
You've got fungoid.
Well, that makes sense too. So he spent so much time in this cave, just sort of lost in thought, communing with the universe, that he's developed lots of very unpleasant fungal spores and growth. Right?
Ugh. I've got 22, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nightmare.
Nightmare. Oh, okay. You're getting lots of stuff that's like very difficult to reconcile.
Yeah.
Very sort of out there, right?
Okay. And as a skill bonus, you've got 4 insight.
Again, that makes a load of sense. Yeah. That fits. That fits with this character. I'm getting like Yeti Shaman.
I've got science.
What? Okay.
Right, okay. So now we're going to take these characters and create a backstory and explain who they are.
I think I've got mine already. He's essentially like an outcast, like a cryptid essentially. But rather than being like a mindless monster, he's actually like maybe the last of his species or something. He's hyper intelligent and has been, as civilizations have risen and fallen, has been in a cave somewhere communing with the universe and just doesn't care about his appearance or his body or anything like that.
Right.
I think that fits.
Yep, that's a character. Can you read me mine, please? And I'll try to
Okay, you've got you've got Rat Swarm, Simian, Giant, Nightmare, and Science.
Okay.
Kind of at a loss with that one.
Okay, right. Got it. So, this creature, when it says giant, we're going to say it's about 9 feet tall, right? So we're not
so not like kaiju or something.
Can you both repeat your rolls?
So basically, I got hypercognitive, Yeti, Mindbreaker, Fungoid, and Insight, and Adam got Rat Swarm, Simian, Giant, Nightmare, and Science.
So there was a machine, and the machine was a dreamwalker machine. You used it to go inside people's dreams. What nobody realised was that within this ability to go inside people's dreams and do various psychotherapy and whatnot, these little bits of people were being left behind who took the form of these tiny little like feral nibbling creatures. They're just there. And as more people used this machine, they got stronger and stronger and stronger. There was more of them until eventually they broke through into reality and coalesced into one giant pulsating dream rat monster that now just runs around destroying everything in these fits of rage. It jumps from being a super savage, angry creature to being a childlike, just wants an ice cream. All it knows is the dreams that these rats have experienced and seen from different people. So they're all, because they're all in psychotherapy, it's all very traumatic stuff. So there isn't a huge amount of joy. It doesn't understand joy. It doesn't understand happiness. It just knows trauma and sadness and despair.
It doesn't seem like a happy character.
No.
Just from the basic roles, it doesn't seem like a happy character.
And I will name it Nightmareagon. Because I can't think of anything else to call it.
I like Cassius's idea of calling it Mojo Jojo. like from the Powerpuff Girls. I think that's a great idea. So I'm going to call mine Socrates. I think he's got a sort of Socratic quality about him.
The cool thing about Gamma World, to do it properly, because I mean that's literally using something online to pick a character with, is you did it through cards. So you you ran the deck and then you just randomly picked your cards, and that's how you made your characters.
That's fun. Oh, that is a lot of fun, isn't it? As character creation goes, that is a lot of fun.
Gamma World is one of those really fun games. I've played it a couple of times, and I've always had a really good laugh with it. It's so silly. But I'm sure.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I mean, my favorite like silly RPG was always Paranoia. I just loved that, especially if you got to play like Friend Computer.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
I think Paranoia is one of those ones where if you can get the tone right, it is one of the best things you'll ever experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. You have to get the tone right though. It's got to be fun. It's got to be funny, but in a very dark way. Like 2000 AD is the tone you want, isn't
it? Absolutely. It's even better when you start doing the. You start wondering if somebody is a traitor to Friend Computer.
Oh my god, it's so much fun. Good DMs will do it like Hal or someone like that, won't they? You
must watch out. It might be that one of your friends is a communist.
Right.
I love that it uses communist in it completely the wrong way. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean it's right. I mean it's like it's a satire of McCarthyism, isn't it? I mean, ultimately, it's ultimately what it's having a go at. But it's so much fun, and the deaths you can introduce are just so ridiculous.
Maybe that might be one to do down the line.
Oh my god, we'll have to do like a at least like a video doing a Paranoia run.
Oh, that would be so much. I actually have somewhere first edition Paranoia.
Oh my god.
I'll have to see if I can find it actually. I might still have it. Should we talk about some forward-thinking plans that we've had?
Yeah, sure.
Because I know that I haven't been around a lot this last few weeks. I've been busy. But our plans at the
likewise.
Yeah, it's just life doing its things. Our plans, as we are now on the road to 100, believe it or not, is for episode 100 to actually run a RPG game. There's some people who will be involved. There will, of course, be George. There will be me GMing. There will be Andy. There will be our friend Nick.
Excellent.
And I'm bringing in from the Creeks, James. Who was
superb.
Somebody I did a lot of work on the Creeks podcast with. And that, I think, is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. The idea I've got is that we run through the entirety of the starter mission for Soulbound. And we don't stop until it's done.
That's good.
We just keep going.
Or we're all dead. Yeah?
Well,
or we're all dead.
Or you're all dead. Because I think it would be quite a lot of fun to start doing little RPG shows here and there.
Yeah.
Because I love RPGs. I absolutely adore RPG games.
Likewise. I'm well up for that.
And I know James is very tempted by the idea of trying to run a Call of Cthulhu game. Which
yes.
I'm trying to get him to do a Delta Green game, because Delta Green is...
Think with Call of Cthulhu is we're all going to have to roll up multiple characters, because like the amount of times you can die or go mad or whatever in a Call of Cthulhu game.
In Call of Cthulhu, you don't die. You go mad and become removed from the game. Yeah, you can't play the game anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever played Delta Green. Delta Green is probably my all-time favourite RPG game.
Never played it, no.
Because it's Call of Cthulhu, but you have the ability to be a bit more proactive. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to win, but it does mean that you can fail in a lot more interesting ways.
Right, okay.
So, I mean, I remember telling the story of the thinking that somebody was kidnapped and hidden in an American water tank. So you let them out, and all of a sudden the tentacles start sprouting, and she eats five of the investigators. No more. Yeah, it's really good fun. But there's other games that I'd love to give a go, like Night of Blades, which is like a very Dishonored style game where there's a ghost apocalypse. Ghost apocalypse, I'm all up for that. That's good stuff. Well, I think it'd be quite fun to I don't know, once a month.
Play around with a few things
Yeah.
and see what. Yeah, that sounds fun to me.
Once a month, maybe once every 2 months or something. Just get an RPG
Yeah,
game.
see what crops up. And if we do happen to like land on a campaign that works, then carry it on. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
I mean, we are going to have to do a classic D&D as well,
Of course,
obviously,
of
at some
course.
point. Because, like, how can you not?
I think that would be entirely up to you to run there, George. Thank you for...
Yeah, I'll be well up for that.
And I can always just bring back my old dwarf naked wrestler. Mitchelson, Randy, Slagerson. All of his contacts and everything was all in hand-to-hand combat, and he didn't have any weapons or pants.
That was my old dwarf character. He was
Brilliant.
he was a wrestler.
Absolute brilliant.
He once wrestled a dragon. Didn't survive.
Yeah, as they do. As they do.
So, with all that being said, then we'll start to close things down and get out of everybody's hair. George, where can people find you if they so wish to find you?
Oh my God! You can find me in so many places at the moment. You can find links to all of my published work over at strangeplaygrounds.com. There are now 4 or 5 short story collections out: Strange Playgrounds, Essential Atrocities, Born in Blood Volume 1 and Born in Blood Volume 2. You can buy Born in Blood Volumes 1 and 2 over at perpetualmotionmachinepublications.com. You can buy either the 2 volumes separately or in a bundle pack together. I'd advise probably getting the bundle pack. Where else? You can find a lot of my articles in either Dark Moon Monthly or in thegingernutsoфhorror.com. You can find a lot of stuff going on at Exaggerated Elegy on YouTube at the moment, and if you want to come and chat with me, you can find me over at Enigmatic Elegy on Twitter.
Bang on. As for me, you can find me here, because that's pretty much all I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, lots going on at the moment his side, I'm afraid. Lots going on.
Yes, there is very, 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 very much. Yes, I have seen Rumble Slam, by the way, and Rumble Slam's ace. I really like Rumble Slam. Yeah, you can find me here. You can find me on Twitter at Grufflock. You can find me on Twitter at the Fluffenhammer. You can find me on Discord. Links will be below. Come and join the Discord. It's nice and chilled out. It's very chilled out. It's just a super chilled out place to be. Most of the time, it's a conversation about Flight of Dragons.
Oh, brilliant! Well, yeah.
Probably because I started.
Always a good place.
I always start a conversation about Flight of Dragons. I can't help myself. I've got a sickness.
Well, yeah. It's a foundational text for our generation, isn't it? We can't help it.
Very much so. I know people younger than me who hate that film. They're wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're totally wrong.
If you grew up in the 90s, apparently it doesn't work for you at all.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
It is. It's very weird. I think that it's so early in the 80s, it's still got a bit of 70s in it, and I think that's one of the reasons I like it.
Yeah. It's a wonderful piece of work.
Absolutely. And with that final word, we shall get out of here, and I'm going to play you all a little video. Enjoy.
Oh.
Bye-bye now.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye.
We were to be the finest warrior. The warrior. The warriors who gave of ourselves to him. Like clay, we were molded, and in the furnace of war, we were forged. In great armor were we clad, and with the mightiest guns we were to be armed. We will be untouched by plague or disease. No sickness will blight us. We have tactics, strategies, and machines, so that no foe can best us in battle. We were the bulwark against the terror. We were the defenders of humanity. We are legion, and we are fear. One unbreakable shield against the coming darkness. One last blade, forged in defiance of fate. Let them be my legacy to the galaxy I conquered. And my final gift, with pieces I failed.